You know that feeling when the year starts to turn and winter settles in like a thick, heavy blanket? The days get shorter, the light fades, and for a lot of us, this quiet gloom just kind of starts to creep in. It's a feeling so common, we even have a name for it, the winter blues.
But what's really going on inside our minds and bodies that makes this season feel so different, so heavy? It's a question that, believe it or not, millions of us ask ourselves every single year. So let's dive in and figure this out.
Okay, first things first, it's really important to know we're talking about two different things here. For a lot of people, it's the winter blues, a mild, lingering sadness or just a general lack of energy. But for others, up to 9% of us, that feeling really thickens into something much more serious, seasonal affective disorder or SAD. And that is a clinical form of depression that literally comes and goes with the seasons.
So here's our game plan. We're going to journey through the science behind the seasonal shift. We'll explore some really powerful tools to find the light again, from daily habits to some pretty surprising science, and we'll build a solid toolkit for navigating the darkness.
So, what is the science here? Well, I want you to think of your body like an ancient sundial, one that's perfectly designed to follow the sun. But when the days get shorter, that sundial kind of loses its guide, and all our internal systems can get thrown completely out of whack. The very first thing that gets messed up is our circadian rhythm. You've probably heard of this, right? It's our body's internal 24-hour clock. The lack of sunlight in winter really confuses this clock, and that's what messes with our sleep-wake cycles and leaves us feeling so off balance.
Next up, let's talk about serotonin. This is a super important chemical in your brain that helps keep your mood stable. And yeah, research shows that when you get less sunlight, your serotonin levels can actually drop, and that drop can be a direct trigger for those feelings of depression.
And at the exact same time, our bodies can start making too much melatonin. That's the hormone that makes you feel sleepy. And it makes sense, right? It gets dark outside and your body thinks, oh, time for bed. So it starts pumping out more melatonin, which is why we can feel so sluggish and just plain tired during the day.
And the mission control for all of this? It's a tiny little area in your brain called the hypothalamus. It's the part that processes all the light coming in through your eyes, and it tries to keep everything, your clock, your mood, your energy, all in balance. So in the winter, it's basically working overtime with way less information to go on.
So, if a lack of light is really at the heart of the problem, well, the most powerful solution is to intentionally go out and find more of it. Let's talk about what that actually looks like.
Now, when natural sunlight just isn't cutting it, doctors often turn to light therapy. The clinical standard is a special kind of light box that gives off 10,000 lux of brightness. Just to put that in perspective, a really well-lit office is maybe 500 lux. So yeah, this therapy is designed to mimic the full power of natural sunlight, and it's a proven, really effective treatment for SAD.
The big takeaway here is pretty simple. You have to make light a priority. Get outside for a walk every single day, even when it's cloudy. I promise you're still getting way more beneficial light than you would be sitting inside. So open up those curtains, sit by a window, and if things are still feeling really tough, talk to a doctor about using a light therapy box.
Okay, so beyond just finding light, we can also support our bodies and minds by, well, tending to our inner fire. And that just means focusing on the simple daily habits that keep us feeling grounded and resilient.
These are really the fundamentals that build you up. I mean, regular exercise, it's fantastic for releasing those mood-boosting endorphins. Sticking to a consistent sleep schedule helps reset that internal clock we talked about. A balanced diet, rich in things like omega-3s and vitamin D, directly supports your brain health. And this one is crucial. Don't underestimate the power of connection. We have to fight the urge to isolate ourselves, which can make winter feel even darker. You can even try embracing that Danish concept of hygge, just intentionally creating a warm, cozy vibe with people you love.
All right, now let's talk about another tool. And this is one you might not expect to find in a scientific discussion like this one, but it's actually backed by some really compelling research. We're talking about prayer.
Now, what's so fascinating here is that this quote comes from a randomized controlled trial. What they found was that prayer, when used right alongside standard medical care, showed some really significant benefits. And let's be super clear, this isn't a replacement for things like therapy or light boxes, but it can be a powerful additional tool.
And this chart just brilliantly shows how powerful those results were. So the study measured depression levels using a standard clinical scale. On the left, you've got the control group. You can see their scores stayed pretty high, not much change. But look at the prayer group on the right. Whoa, the participants saw their depression scores absolutely plummet.
The improvement wasn't just a little bit, it was dramatic.
And get this, it wasn't just some temporary boost. They did a follow-up study and found that these incredible improvements in depression, anxiety, even optimism were still there for at least a full year after the prayer sessions ended. That suggests a really lasting positive impact.
So, how could this possibly work? Well, other studies using fMRI brain scans are giving us clues. It seems that practices like prayer can actively help restructure how your brain processes difficult emotions. Scientists have a really cool name for this: self-directed neuroplasticity. Think about it like this. Your thought patterns are kind of like well-worn paths in a forest. Well, practices like prayer can help you consciously carve new, healthier, more resilient paths. You're essentially helping to rewire your own brain.
So we've seen that while the winter gloom is absolutely real and has a biological cause, we are far from powerless. We have a whole toolkit at our disposal to help us navigate this season.
Okay, let's bring it all together. Just remember, seasonal sadness is a real, biological response to less light. It's not just in your head. Your most powerful tools are to intentionally seek light, keep up with those healthy routines, and stay connected to people. And we've seen that for some, prayer can be a really powerful complementary tool. But most importantly of all, if you are struggling, it is always okay to ask for professional help.
Winter might dim the world outside, but you hold the power to kindle a light within. The season will turn. The longer days will come back. You don't have to walk through this darkness alone. So the only question left is this: what small light will you kindle for yourself today?